Teachers of Reddit, what are some of the weirdest things you've confiscated from a student? 1. A sugar glider. Kept hearing a high-pitched squeak in class. Noticed she had a small animal in her jacket pocket when it decided to poke its head out. A student brought one of these to my class. I teach college, so that was fine and I was super excited and she let me hold it. The students were busy doing some group work, and when they were just about done I went to hand it back to her. It then proceeded to leap down the front of my shirt and attach itself to my bra. And X200B. So now I'm supposed to be lecturing again, but this girl's sugar glider is not only sitting in my cleavage, but running around under my shirt. More than half the class had no idea why I was distracted, or why I shoved my hand down between my boobs until I finally got the little guy out. And X200B. The following year a different student's hedgehog peed on me. 2. A little orange lizard in a box with a Charizard Pokemon card taped to it. Edit. To clarify, the card was taped to the box. Edit. Wow, this blew up. Now I understand the meaning of inbox spammed. 3. A vitamin B12 vape pen. Didn't know they existed. It was a 9-year-old. In class. Now watch the kids vaping e-cigs get shamed for not smoking a vitamin vape. That's why they exist. Your lungs don't absorb B12. But your brain is adept at absorbing marketing wank. Shame on anyone who doesn't vape their 5 a day though. 4. A homemade arrow made with a pencil and a modified razor blade. 5. My father took a cleaver off a student. My dad was doing lunch duty and saw the kid open his jacket and motion his buddies to have a look. Turns out there was going to be a fight after school. My dad knew the kid and asked him to step into the hallway. He got the cleaver off the kid and took him to the office. I'm not sure what his punishment was, but pre-Columbine, so who knows. 6. Not confiscated but actually given as a gift. A bag of her hair. A bag of every strand of hair she's had cut since birth. 7. In music class this kid Oliver pulls out a matchbox car and starts playing. Teacher takes it, turn around, places it on piano. Turns back's already gotten the next one out of his pocket and it back to playing, so she took it again. Rinse repeat. Funniest shit ever to an 8-year-old. We laughed so ducking hard. 8. The naked lady booby lighter. Exclamation point. Kid was 7th or 8th grade in an alternative school setting. He was always sneaking stuff in his pockets and getting it taken up. We are walking to lunch and my assistant stops suddenly. He comes back with a metal naked woman torso in his hand. You could press one boob and the flame came out of the other. It was fantastic. Exclamation point. It was super popular in the office for the few days until mom came to pick it up. She was really glad to get family heirloom back. 9. A pencil with a bunch of glued on dick shaped confetti. 10. A white lacy thong from a kindergartner. She was wearing it on her head. 11. Not a teacher but a kid brought a human skull to school. I think the teacher just had a conversation with him about it. Edit. To answer some questions. The skull was real. The kid was a baddie. His folks were more likely meth cooks than doctors. It didn't get donated. The school in question was near a rural mountain area where a lot of people lived who wanted to be left alone. The provenance of the skull was, at the most, conservative, dubious. 12. A raccoon penis toothpick. He kept poking other kids with it. Sigh. What? Most mammals have bones in their penis. Look up walrus if you want to be amazed. So they kill the coon, cut its cook, carve the bone. Sorry, I couldn't think of a C word for bones. Edit. Guys, thanks for all the replies. I know it's baculum, just didn't think it would help OP. Also thanks for fixing my poor attempts at doggerel, everyone. 13. Not really bizarre, but very memorable. I had to take a water bottle that contained some type of fruity vodka. Had to smell it to be sure. I only knew to check because the student was recognizably drunk. This was an 8th grader. Edit. Wow, this blew up. My top comment is now officially about underage drinking in school. Too many comments to respond to all of them, but yes, it is common. A teacher catching it is not always as common though. 14. I had to confiscate a 7th grader's iPad because he was looking up anime girl body pillows. Somewhat related. My wife got a kid banned from Chromebooks in school because he was trying to look at porn on them, but he was in middle school so he was really bad at it. So like, She saw him looking at inappropriate pictures and he said it was an accident, so she went into the search history. It was image search for Jolshot girls underwear hot girls 6 hot girls sex. Hot girls 6 is brilliant. 15. A taxidermied kookaburra. She taught herself how to do it from books. It was not done well. Edit. Just to clarify, apparently it was dead, having been hit by a car, when she found it. 16. Camp counselor here. We have permission to go through bags to confiscate prohibited items like food and electronics and knives. One girl had a Tupperware full of what looked like the oldest peanut butter imaginable smeared all over the Tupperware. I brought it to my co-workers, and we all tried to smell it, but it smelled different to all of us. Literally no clue what this shit was. Asked the girl about it one day and she goes, that's my plant, like it's obvious. Apparently it was some kind of fungus or algae to apply to sunburns. Edit. It's in the woods. They can't keep food on them because of bears and other wildlife. We aren't starving them, I promise. 17. Student. A teacher confiscated a dildo from a student. This was in 7th grade. 18. A bottle of passion fruit lube brought in by a 4-year-old, making all her friends smell her fruity hand cream. Poor mama must have had a long night and mixed up her eczema cream. A brick decorated with hentai in the locker of a 14-year-old boy. He was very different, that kid. Not a confiscation, but when my 4-5-year-olds were getting changed for PE, a little girl opened Jer bag and out fell a bunch of very sexy lingerie. 10 minutes later at the window I have a very red mum with the correct kit in hand saying she mixed up the dry cleaning with the daughter's PE kit. I pretended I hadn't seen. Bonus edit. When I asked him why he brought it in, he said for the skulls of my enemies. He didn't have friends, but not because he was odd. Even the odd kids hated his guts, but because he was horrible and obnoxious to everyone. Worked on his social skills with him for a long time and allowed him to run a manga club in my classroom Friday lunch times. Whilst I was in there, he made friends in the end and had a much nicer life since that club. He's a happy 18-year-old now with a girlfriend and kid. Having a kid at 16 was the normal in the deprived area, so him having a family, his own place and a job he enjoys is good. He messages me on Facebook every now and then to check in and tell me how his life is. Just because that's not happiness to some of you, please do not shit on his. 19. In grade school I had 2 really close friends named Juan and Nick. Here is a picture of us. https imgur comkv9i with jpg. That I love with me in the front, then Juan, and then Nick. The 3 of us were really close and bonded of our shared nerdy interests of reading, Star Wars, and The Simpsons. We also really enjoyed drawing. I don't remember how it started exactly, but we ended up making this notebook that we passed back and forth between us. It was a comic about a guy named Tom and his cat. We would each take turns doing a strip of a few panels and then hand it over. Here is a quick drawing I did of Tom on my phone. https imgur com.atg hamod png, so you can get an idea of what he looked like. The comic was about the everyday life of Tom and it was extremely mundane. It was things like Tom tries to decide on a shirt or Tom dropped the cat food on the floor. It was really dumb stuff, but the 3 of us found it so hilarious because we were weird kids. One day our teacher caught us with the notebook and confiscated it from us. She never said a word about it, but I bet when she looked through that thing she probably thought it was the weirdest ducking thing ever, especially since we were laughing hysterically at it when she took it from us. 20. I taught English in South Korea for a year. One time I caught a kid doing the old comic book inside a textbook routine. I was surprised. I didn't know kids did that. After laughing I confiscated his comic book. 21. Student was trying to stick a large suction cup dildo, like the ones you use in the shower, to another student's locker. He actually asked what the problem was. 22. Small Tupperware container of swamp water. 23. When I was in school my English teacher confiscated 50 Shades of Grey off another pupil during our silent reading time. We would have been in year 7 or 8 at the time. My classmate, who was the dumbest class clown, tried to kick off about it and asked the teacher why it being taken away and the teacher calmly said, "I'm not letting you read that, it's terribly written. It's as if it's been written by someone on a train." Edited, added not. Similar thing occurred in my year 9 English class. Girl came in and started reading 50 Shades for silent reading. My teacher noticed and straight up said, "Emma, you can sit outside and read that." Emma then argues why and teacher responds, "I wouldn't wipe my ass with that book, let alone allow that poorly written filth into my class." Emma ended up reading it on the front step of the classroom, in the heat of Australian summer. She sure had tenacity, I'll give her that. Face with tears of joy. That English teacher was hilarious, and a great teacher as well. 24. I teach little ones, so nothing nearly as risque as some of the others in this thread. I've confiscated handcuffs, a wrench, baby bottles, and a variety of bugs and small animals the kiddos caught out at recess. A colleague confiscated an adult movie from a 5-year-old. The kid didn't know what it was, didn't even know that it was a videotape, or anything about it. It just looked cool, the tape itself. He didn't know of the content. 25. It wasn't exactly a confiscation. Some of my students thought it would be a good idea to bring me 2 chickens. 2 live chickens. They knew my daughter had a pet duck that had recently died, so this was their idea to help us get past the grief. I had to keep them in a carrier in my classroom closet in the dark just so they would be quiet. The chickens, not the kids. By the end of the day I found a kid with a grandmother that had a farm. She took the chickens home. Edit. Here's her duck and better days. https imgur.com/5zy6wl. JPG. 26.